Hello there, this is the 13th century schizoid man with another video. And today, because my Chamberlain requests it, we're going to be discussing etiquette. If you're going to be at a Lord's Manor, castle, or whatnot, here are 10 important tips. Let's get into it. Firstly, I'll have to explain this before we really go into things. People will say, no one did this, or no one did that, or whatever it is, and trying to get to the point of, like, say, no one threw food over their shoulder or whatever, or everybody washed their hands. Do remember that the fact these rules exist means they were rife at least prior to this. So you do have that to take in mind. Take example, a sign saying wet paint. Now, you could assume that outside the Benny Hill show, people don't just sit on wet paint things. But people still do. Just because it says wet paint doesn't mean people don't do it. Or walked over a tarmac that's been recently laid despite all the signposts. That is how people are. That is human nature. The fact that rules exist means it's rife. So obviously it's being petered out, and we are dealing with the rules, not the breaking of the rules. This is what the noble running the place would expect you to follow, assuming he is an upstanding citizen in his own right. Now, that is my disclaimer. Always wash your hands before eating. Do not want dirty hands. This is a noble household. There are water bowls provided, and the jugs to fill up should it be depleted. This is very important. Hygiene wasn't just a greeting. Hygiene was a concept of health back then. People didn't know what germs were or what viruses were or anything else like that, but they certainly knew that the cleanliness was a thing. This isn't the age of dirt like it is in many, many movies. This is a age where you didn't want to get dirty. Dirty led to bad things. So maybe in some peasants' households, fine, fair enough, but this isn't one of them. So there we go. Do not start your meal without the prayer. And this is a Catholic day and age. So we are talking sort of, you have an auntie, I have an auntie, we have an auntie. That is an important thing. Religion and sinning and the whole concept of faith was a very important thing in the medieval age. No, don't put your elbows on the table. These are trestle tables. These aren't permanent fixtures. The concept of having a permanent fixture of a table isn't around. You put your elbows on a trestle table, it will tip. Everyone else will have no food. It will be a disaster. All you were doing is showing yourself up and probably be shown the door. It'd be a disgrace. Tables were not permanent fixtures. You set them up to the meal, put them down after the meal, and then they would be stored away. Especially this is going to be in the hall, and depending on this could just be one table at the end with a few servants around. This could be a big affair, more of a banquet. We might have the high table, second mess, reward, with some entertainment in the middle. The servants bustling around on the outside, but you still didn't put your elbows on the table. Don't even think about it. Don't grab your food. Use your knife, which you will carry around with you at all times anyway, or even a spoon. And my Chamberlain will certainly be keeping a tally on spoons because they tend to go walkies. Yes, even nobility act like tourists on a holiday camp. Use the knife to bring the food over to your bowl or plate. And then you use your hand to remove it from the knife. Easy, done. Once you get into the routine of it, you'll be far more sort of flexible with it. You'll just be instinctively like poke, bring, place, eat. And while you're at this, talking of tourists in holiday camps, do not pile your plate like one. You've seen it frequently on things like anything from Malaga down to Tenerife. by beef of people piling their plates full of food which they don't eat them anything of. They have about 4 mouthfuls and leave it because they're full up. Don't be these guys. So you would have the idea of you eat what you could. You put certain things on your plate. Don't pile it up. Have a moderate amount on there. And when you've eaten that, then you could go to the next part. Also, don't pig out on the best choices. It's like, even if there's a lot of it to go around, don't have like one of that one of each good thing. No, and if there's one thing like a nice bit of chicken with them that's been lovely spiced up with the Eastern fragrances, I would offer, before taking it, I would offer, does anyone else want it? And it's up to them to be the piggywigs or not. Also, once your food is on your plate, you don't return it to the banquet. It is yours. If you don't want it, you discard it. And don't use your knife to eat. And when you're dealing with soups, you 2 hands, lift mouth. The lady in this picture will certainly give you a demonstration. Don't spit your food across the table or on the floor or anywhere else. You aren't a barbarian from the Roman era. You will use your linen to spit it out, then put it to a bowl provided where all the parts are. There will be bits in there, and bones can go in there, not slung across. You don't want to go down that route. Right? Yeah. Don't fill your mouth with food. Filling your mouth with food means you can splatter bits across there and it goes to the previous one, where you ended up spitting across the table, which you're not meant to do. Here, you have smaller mouthfuls. Take in mind also that this is where everyone gets together, where it's family, friends, or your money. Most of the time, you're apart from each other. This is where you get together. This is communal. You're going to want to talk. How's your day? My day was good. Oh, I heard you done good on the on training earlier. Oh, I did. Oh, thanks for that. And you have a chat about it. So your mouth is not raw, 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 raw. You have moderate mouthfuls. This is the evening. The wine will flow. The food will come, and the medieval idea of food is more like a meze anyway. So it can keep on coming. So you could easily spend 2 hours in this mill, chatting here and there, doing that, and having here, and again, depending on how big the event is, you could even have entertainment. So all depends on the circumstance. But most people, after a good hard day's afternoon, want to get some food down them, and no, not down them. Don't wipe your mouth with your sleeve. Ugh. Chances are you are wearing your fine fabric. Even if it's just traveller's clothes you are wearing, you're wearing a finer quality of them, rather than what the peasantry wear, or even the yeomen. You are certainly not going to want to dirty it with all your mouth grease, or your chicken grease, or fish grease, or whatever. You are going to be wanting to use the water bowl and the linen. And do take in mind that it'd be a long time before the washing machine's invented and modern day detergents. Don't butter your bread with your thumb. This goes back to the linen and everything else, because you're going to have to go to the water bowl and go back. I don't need to explain this. Use your knife. Use it in a civilized manner. And no picking your teeth with your knife. Because if you haven't learned anything by now, oh my God, it's So there we have it. They are the rules, the major 10 rules, with a couple of sub-clauses. These are the main rules you've got to learn. Again, different countries have different customs and everything else, but these are the basics. Although I do have 2 bonus things. Now, dogs being present at the table was a thing. A lot of people had dogs. Now, you want to keep your dogs under control. You don't want to, if they're naughty dogs, you don't want to give them tidbits. Do not give them things under the table. The last thing you need is a wrestling dog under the trestle table, knocking it all over. These aren't little tiny dogs. These are big dogs in this day and age. They are Mastiff being the norm. You have a big Mastiff under the table. You knock that table right over. So you want the dog to be trained to be good. So the animal rights wasn't a thing. So someone giving the dog a boot or whatnot, or a lot of these dogs were not treated as they were nowadays, if I'm going to put it mildly. So, but afterwards, the dog can have a lot of what's in some of these bowls, and even though a lot of the leftovers will go to the elms, the dog will still get fed. So these are not going to be hungry doggies, unless there's a famine going on, and they will be hungry doggies. In fact, the dog are probably on the table. But but for all in all, that is how things are. Second, a bonus bit of trivia are the trenchers. You might notice I'm not using a trencher, I'm using a wooden plate. Why would I have that when I've got perfectly carved wood? So, but if I did, then I would be given that. You don't eat the trencher. Trenchers are not to be eaten by the host or the guests. They are to be given to the elms. They are, and a lot of the other breads, they'll be given straight to the church to be distributed, or the elms, everything else. So there we have it. And I'm hoping people enjoy this video, at least to an extent.